All right, working on the warm-ups. So, first one. All right. Anytime you have an ORs, solve them independently. So we just split it right here. So I divide both sides by 2. Divide by 2. Divide by 2. X is less than -5. Okay. Over here on this side, there's nothing else to do there. On this side now, we got to subtract the 3 from both sides. Okay, subtract the 3, subtract the 3. So I have 2x is greater than 14. Divide both sides by 2. X is greater than 7. Okay, so from there, put on a number line. 0, -5, +7. -5, we're going to have an open dot. And it's going left. That was this guy. And then over here, x is greater than 7, open dot, going to the right. All right. Next one, split it on the OR. So here we have to divide both sides by -4. Divide both sides by -4. I'm going to have x is less than. I have to flip the sign because I divided by a negative. So x is less than +4. Okay, so that one's done. This one here, I distribute it. So I have 2x minus 4 is greater than 20. Add 4. Add 4. So I have 2x is greater than 24. Divide both sides by 2. X is greater than 12. There's my second answer. All right, so now I can graph this. 0, 4, 12. I have an open dot at 4, and I'm going left. Open dot at 12, going to the right. All right? Now the ands. The ands, I would cover up your -12 less than. So I would cover up this first part here. All right, so what would you have to do? Well, you have to subtract a 4. Subtract a 4 both places. Lift your hand. Subtract it here as well. So now I have negative 16 is less than 2x is less than 12. Okay, so then from there, I need to divide 2 to get x by itself. So I divide by 2 there and do it everywhere. So negative 8 is less than x is less than 6. Then I graph it. All right, 0, 6, negative 8. I have an open dot at negative 8, an open dot at positive 6, and I color in between. All right, last one. I have to subtract an 8 from everywhere. Here and here, I lifted my hand. I do it here as well. So now I have negative 28 is less than x over 2 is less than 16. Okay? Multiply by 2 and do it everywhere. So 2 times 28, negative 56, is less than x is less than 32. So graph this guy, 0, 32, negative 56. Open dot, x is in the middle, so I color in the middle. All right, so that's what those guys would look like for a warm-up. All right, those would have been the ones we did Wednesday, Thursday, Friday last week. Okay, we did the ors on Wednesday, the ands on Thursday, and then Mrs. Grebe reviewed them all with you on Friday. All right, so here's the new stuff. Absolute value equations and inequalities. This is going to take 2 days. All right, so this will be our lesson today and on Friday. I guess it'll be the next time I see you. All right, so today we're going to knock out absolute value equations, and Friday we're going to knock out inequalities. Okay? So I'm going to start it off with a question for you. What's an absolute value? What's an absolute value?
A complete number.
Complete number.
A complete answer.
Okay. I think I see where you're coming from. Can I add anything to it? No? All right. You don't have a pencil?
No, I'm just trying to get the right.
All right. Let me ask you this. What's the absolute value of negative 2? What is it? 2. Perfect.
Oh, so it's the opposite.
The absolute value of negative 2 is 2. It's not the opposite. It's always positive. Okay? So an absolute value, this is one of the most common examples. If I have negative 2, absolute value of negative 2 is going to be positive 2. Okay? So inside, a lot of people say this. Makes the inside positive. Which I'm okay with that. Positive. I can't spell. All right? I'm all right with that answer. Okay? But what this really is the true distance of a number from 0 on a number line. All right? Because there's things in this world that can never be negative. Distance is one of them. Okay? So I always like to use this example. So I'm going to stand right here. Okay? I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks. How far did I just walk there?
5 blocks.
5 blocks. Okay?
Positive 5 blocks.
That's a positive 5 blocks. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How far did I move?
5 blocks.
5 blocks. Even though I went backwards, I still went 5 blocks, right?
Yeah.
So there's no way I can have a negative distance. So that was my true distance. That is my distance from 0 on a number line. Yeah.
I mean, unless you're in like this weird game and like everything you touch for the second time disappears.
Yeah. We're in the real world here, okay? So, same way on your car. All right. If you get in, you drive down the road, you see your mileage odometer. It just keeps ticking and ticking and ticking. If you go down the road in reverse, guess what? It's still going to keep going up. Just because you're going backwards doesn't mean you drove less miles. You still drove that many miles. All right. So that's a big one, is distance. You can never have negative distance in the real world. So that's where this absolute value thing kind of comes into play. But it also presents us with a problem. So we just said the absolute value of negative 2 is 2. The absolute value of 2 is also 2. Okay?
Question. So you said distance. Distance is pretty much where you go up, down, side to side, that. So what happens when people die, when they go underwater and they start saying it's negative?
They still dived a certain
Yeah.
distance, but it could be negative elevation.
Dive. Diving.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought she said dive. I got really confused.
Yeah, you can have negative, and that is in reference to sea level.
Yeah.
So that is a case that in that case, yes. But they also established a standard. They established what sea level is. Yeah. It's a good question though. All right, so here's the big thing though that leads us to a problem when we're solving these guys. I have two different things that equal the same number. You guys see that?
Yeah.
Okay, I have absolute value of negative 2 is 2. Absolute value of 2 is 2. So I have to account for both of those. All right, so, yeah.
I was writing on the last one, but I couldn't read what it said.
Okay. True distance of a number from 0 on a number line.
Is it possible I can move like over here or something? There's a wire right there.
Go right there. We gotta go every other sheet. So, yeah, right here is fine. Try that one out. All right. So whenever we go to start solving these things, we have to account for both answers. We have to account for the negative. We have to account for the positive being equal to the same thing. Okay. So if you're writing this down, which you should be, I'd write this and I'd write this. You wouldn't necessarily have to write this one. Okay. I'd write the top thing and the bottom thing. Okay. So on this, you must account for both answers. And the way we're going to do it, we're going to isolate the absolute value, then we're going to split it into a positive and a negative case and solve each one. All right? And by the rule, it says solve an equation in the form absolute value of A equals B, where A represents a variable expression and B is greater than 0. Then solve A equals B and A equals negative B, which that's exactly what we're going to do with the steps I put at the bottom. Isolate the absolute value, split into a positive, negative, and solve each one. All right, we good?
No. You good or no?
All right, so we're going to look at 5 examples. All right, and they're going to go from start with easy ones, working our way up. Okay? So the first one, I have the absolute value of x minus 3 is equal to 6. So the first thing we want to do, we want to isolate the absolute value. All right here's the absolute value. So I want to isolate that. So if I want to isolate that, what do I have to move or get rid of? I got to move the negative 3. How do I move the negative 3? Add it. Yep, add it. So I add a 3 to both sides. So now I have the absolute value of x is equal to 9. All right? So here's the rule now. And this is where we have to split it and account for both ones. So to split it, I like to pick a line each way like this. Okay? In the positive side or the plus side, I have x equals 9. So I write it exactly the same, just no bars. Okay? In the minus side, you write the left side the same. You make the right side negative. Now, there's nothing else to solve there. So I have two answers. Anytime you have an absolute value in your equation, you should have two answers. So my two answers here, x equals 9, x equals negative 9. All right? All right. Questions on that first one? All right, so the next one. Next one, I want to isolate the absolute value. So right now I have what in front of there? I have 3, and I'm doing what operation? It's a positive 3, so we divide by 3. Yep, there we go. So I want to divide both sides by 3. Absolute value of x is equal to 5. Correct. Are we ready to split it now? Yep, let's split it. So when we split it, I have x equals 5. Perfect. All right. So far, that's not too bad, is it? All right. Now, a little bit. So every time someone says to me, oh, okay, every time I get an answer, it's the positive and negative of that answer. No. That only happens if all you have inside is an x. All right. This next one here, we have more than just an x inside, don't we? Okay. Not yet. Not yet. So the first rule is to isolate the absolute value, correct? Is the absolute value the only thing on that side? Yeah, everything's inside of it, right? So x plus 3 is inside. So it's kind of like it's in jail. We can't break them out. All right, they got to stick together, at least right now. So right now, the absolute value is the only thing on the left side. So I can split it right now. So let's go ahead and split this. Plus, minus. All right, when I split it, then I'm allowed to break them out of jail. So I got x plus 3 equals 8. I write it exactly the same. The minus side, left side stays the same. Right side becomes a negative.
So is it only the equal and the number after that becomes negative?
Correct. Always the right side. Yep, always the right side becomes negative. All right, so from there, solve them both individually. So this one here, I have to subtract a 3. So I have x equals, it's 8 minus 3? 5. All right, then the second one, I subtract a 3. So now I have x equals, what's negative 8 and negative 3? Most. There we go, negative 11. So x equals 5 and negative 11. So there's my two answers, and they are not the same, are they?
I understand this now.
You liking this one?
Yes.
All right, all right.
I don't feel stupid. I do. Sorry.
All right, questions on those three? We okay?
Yeah.
Tell you what.
More stupid?
Let's see. I'll let you have the option. You can do the first three of these ones by yourself, or we can do the two hard ones first, and then I'll give you all 5 to do at once. Okay, so let's do the harder ones first. Okay, let's knock out all the examples first, then give you something to try. That work? So we're kind of ascending order of difficulty. All right, this one here, number 4. Is there anything other than an absolute value on the left side? No, that's the only thing that's there. Okay, so we're ready to split this guy. So let's split this guy. If I split this guy, got my plus case, my minus case. So my plus case is going to be 2x minus 5 equals 13. So equals. All right, and then the negative case, 2x minus 5, make the right side a negative. Okay, so 2x minus 5 equals 13, and 2x minus 5 equals negative 13. So we just solve them both individually. So it looks like I have to do what? Add a 5? Let's add a 5 to both sides. And I have 2x is equal, what's 13 plus 5? 18. Now divide both sides by 2. X equals 18 divided by 2? Not 6. 9. There we go. Okay, x is 9. That's the first one. Second one, solve it. So I add a 5, add a 5. So I have 2x is equal to, what's negative 13 plus 5? What's 13 minus 5? Negative 8. There we go. Perfect. Negative 8. Divide both sides by 2. X is negative 4. Great. Exactly. X is 9 and negative 4. Perfect. Feeling good? All right. That's what we like to hear. All right. Here's the last one. This one's the toughie. Okay. So there's a lot more going on right now than just the absolute value on the left side, right? We're multiplying by 3. We're subtracting a 5. Life's a little sketchy. All right? Now, if we pretend that our absolute value was a variable, what do we do first? Add the 5, then divide by 3, right? So let's do that. All right, so I'm going to add a 5 over because I want to do the opposite. Add a 5 to both sides. Now I have 3, absolute value of 2x plus 5 is equal to 13 and 5 is, yep, 18. Now let's get rid of that 3. So we divide both sides by 3. So now I have the absolute value of 2x plus 5 is equal to 18 divided by 3. 6. Great. There we go. 6. Okay. So now we're ready to split this guy, aren't we? All right. We got just the absolute value. We isolated the absolute variable, the absolute value with the variable in it. So let's split it. We can break them out of jail. Okay. So 2x plus 5 equals 6. Over here, 2x plus 5 is equal to negative 6. Now solve them both. So we subtract 5. So we have 1 divided by 2. X is, let's call it 1/2, right? Then over here, subtract a 5, subtract a 5. We have 2x equals negative 11. Divide by 2. X is be negative 5.5 or 5.5. There we go. So our answer is 1/2 and negative 5.5. All right. All right. Questions? All right. Now it's judgment time. All right. So here's judgment time. I have 5 of them. All right. They're exactly like the ones we did, just a little bit different number. So I'm going to give you about 8 or 9 minutes to go through these, and then we'll go over them. All right, here we go. So, first one. All right, we got to take that 4 out first. So I subtract the 4 from both sides. Absolute value of x is equal to 9. Oh, not 9. What's 9 minus 4? 5. There we go, 5. Okay, now we can split it. We have x equals 5 and x equals negative 5. How many of you got the first one right? There we go. I like it. Next one, what do we have to do to this one? Go ahead, spit it out.
So what you're going to do is, you have 2 to divide 4.
Perfect.
And then you divide it with 24, and that gives you 6. And then you split it, you have x equals 6, and x equals negative 6, which is the answer. So
Good.
positive 6 and negative 6.
Good. Third one. This one we're ready to split right away, aren't we? Because the absolute value is isolated on that left side. So we split it. Plus minus. We have x minus 5 equals 8. X minus 5 equals negative 8. So I add the 5 across. What's 5 plus 8? 13. Over here, add a 5, add a 5. X is going to be? Negative 3? Should be negative 3. Yep, there we go. Good. Okay. Almost there. 2 left for the day. So I split this one. Plus, minus. I have 2x minus 6 equals 14. Yep. Because it's the only one. It's the only thing there. It's isolated. And then 2x minus 6 equals negative 14. Okay. So add 6. Add 6. I have 2x equals 20. Divide both sides by 2. X equals what? 10. Good. Over here, add a 6. Add a 6. So 2x equals what? No. There we go. Negative 8. Divide by 2. X equals? Perfect. Negative 4. Last one. This one's the toughie, right? So I have to subtract a 4 from both sides. I get 2x plus 5 equals 24 minus, wait for this problem. 24 minus 4 is what? 20. Good. Divide both sides by 2. So we have 2x plus 5 equals 10. We split it. So we have 2x plus 5 equals 10. 2x plus 5 equals negative 10. Subtract a 5 and divide by 2. I'm running out of room and time. So this would be 2.5. X equals 2.5. Then over here, I subtract the 5. I get 2x equals negative 15. Divide both sides by 2. X equals negative 7.5. We are correct. We will have